Peace, 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 peace. Man, I'm gonna get right into this. Let me first by say give an honor to source, give an honor to the creator, the high power, the most high. Um, to the ancestors known and unknown. It's finna get real cause y'all know when I put on the magic glasses, as Dick Gregory would say, you cannot make people see what you see. I'm saying this in my own words. um, you, you can't force people to see what you see, but in essence, you can't unsee what you've seen. But the magic glasses are on, and this is just my little fun prop or whatever. But it's like a superpower in a way. Naturally, I have those superpowers to speak and to activate your ass. So if you came here, just know you get ready to be activated because this topic at hand, I just want to share with you all that when you over here, this is reality. This ain't fantasy. And the question is, outside of living in someone else's fantasy, are you actually really living out your reality the way you desire to or want to? So that being said, let me just get in it because, man, first of all, let me say bravo. Bravo to the powers that used to be, for those that don't. Bravo. And the reason I say that is because a lot of us need to realize that, or we'll come to that self-realization, is that the curtain is closing. That's really going to be the topic at hand right now. The curtain is closing and already literally has closed. And what I want to say to that is like, those of you that have with your clown outfits on, the people who have portrayed themselves as to be, or disguise themselves, I would say, as something that they're not. And then you piss poor morally just because people such as myself and others who are coming into their awareness of who they are, aware of who they are, not just on this physical plane, but in the higher awareness of, consciously of who they are spiritually in the heavens and coming into a higher awareness, consciously that you're sent here to do a mission. And a lot of people are upset at that. I got truly motivated by a sister. And I was expressing to my partner. And a lot of you are going to realize and come to this realization that those of us, that you have to realize that the powers that were, there was a point in time that things did not want you to come into who you were. And I don't just mean family. I don't just mean just things as such like that, speaking like on the karmic energy. I mean that those of you that are aware when, there is a saying that, the words, however you want to quote it, is that this is a spiritual warfare. But the reason I laugh and I love to just counter certain energies because I sit there and laugh and I'll be like, wow, bravo to the powers that were. Like literally, bravo. Because there's nothing that's stopping this shit right now. This is why I get on here and I tell y'all there's nothing that's stopping this shift. And we're at a place where Spirit's telling me, like, I keep hearing that what was hidden is now going to be seen, or that which in my previous video, how I spoke that what was invisible is now being visible. And people are fucking pissed because, or think about the things that, and ponder on and reflect that, had you stayed in that place, had you reverted back, because I like to say return, had you reverted back and tried to, the things, the entities, the certain things that wanted to keep your lineage in the dark, keep you in the dark. Those of you that have kids, or those of you going to relay this message to a lot of you, is that there were things that wanted to keep your lineage binded, whatever you want to say. Because when you look at the narratives of how the people who have tried drastically, desperately to keep you, I express this to my partner, how we're individually, because this is how powerful it is, how we're individually, how that can be looked differently, like the inner work that we're both doing, both patriarchally and matriarchally. Because a lot of us was assigned to do that here, this lifetime, this go around, to face all the bullshit, break all those generational curses, face that shit, like really face it. We have talks and she expressed it to me from her perception, her awareness of what she's experienced. And then also I'm expressing to her my experiences with the wounded women, her experience with the wounded women and men, both on both parties, seeing the energies, listening to the generational curses or things that have followed, seeing the people that attack, mock, devalue her and me, simply because people choose to stand in their authenticity. Like I say, bravo. Now you can bow out gracefully or dispel yourself from my reality, our reality. And those of you that know who you are, let's go. And this is my message to all of you. What you're doing is not in vain. See, you went from, again, the darkness of being invisible, but you are always visible in the spirit. See, the world wanted to deem you as an outcast, black sheep, all these things. I'm not going to get into the chosen thing, because all of us are chosen to do something greater. It's when you choose to do better and to acknowledge and to face that shit, face on, like, literally. So pay attention. Be aware that it was you. It's us. Very few. But then again, a lot of us are here to help aid in that, to help others, to activate. What's activated in us is going to help activate others by speaking, by visualizations, by art, by music. A lot of things that, again, seeing how humanity or even your lineage or people who have been programmed so much not to even stand in their truth. Again, you're talking about foundations who push the narrative. These dark forces was trying to do their best to keep people in a stagnant place, in a loop of confusion. Of course, people don't want you to heal and acknowledge these things. And then all of a sudden they start to paint you out to be this villain. So be it. I'll be whatever it is. But to the divine, to the creator, that matters most to me, because I know my value this time. Let me make that very clear. The magical glasses on, I know my value this lifetime. And that's what a lot of us came here to regain and to be restored within us, to create a new narrative, because you are the author of this book, this chapter. You are the author and have always been. So again, those of you that have been attacked, that have been bullied, and now you're coming and breaking those generational curses, those spells that have been, masking themselves, things that have been sent your way, and all of a sudden you're liberating and breaking free. Of course, the opposite of that is going to be what you assume to be normal. And a lot of us here now, the beauty of it all is like, I have no regrets. I have nothing to feel shameful for, and no one else is going to come and make me feel that way. Because you got to learn to laugh through that shit. I learned to give gratitude to the efforts. Weapons may form, but they shall not prosper. A lot of us are in position, preparing. We had to experience what we had to experience to go from being invisible in the families, in society, now to be visible for the world to see, for humanity to see. As all these illusions fall away, as all of these spells, all of these things that have been causing the confusion and manipulation, literally dropping like flies. Literally, things are just falling away. And in that, you're being rebirthed anew. You're not supposed to feel the same, look the same in a sense. Think about being in those unhealthy environments. You didn't even look the same, let alone feel the same. So again, there's so many things I could talk about. It's like, this is someone, again, I've experienced being, my partner and I, well, from my own individual experience, we both know the experience. I know the experience of being shunned, of being silenced, growing up in environments where, I was told, shut the F up, or you're stupid, you're this. That took years. Psychologically, those seeds were planted in my mind from people who I deemed thought loved me. I mean, the words, things that people would say, you ain't shit. And y'all know y'all can feel that. You ain't shit. You ain't ever gonna be shit. I hate you. I've heard things to even see where I'm at now. The little boy that heard those things at different ages. It took it, and that's the thing. From being silent throughout. I fought with that a lot as a man now, and now speaking it. And I don't care for no praise, no accolades, no none of that. This is what the fuck I came here to do. Because as I expressed to my partner, I said, there's something individually we're supposed to do. But I know that what my experience was being shunned and silenced and beat and abused verbally, mentally, physically, emotionally. And now still trying to process that, heal through that, and now having expressed to my partner, even to myself, I had to sit with and sit there and be like, you know what? I can respectfully and gracefully now know that I don't have to have these people in my life and my reality, no matter how they feel. Because see, that distance allows them, whether they choose to, because they're chosen to as well, to face their shadow, their fears, the same way I had to. And see, the thing about breaking generational curses and chains is that when you do that, when you face it within yourself, then your seeds, your kids that doesn't have to continue to linger. See, again, to the mothers, like, I give gratitude to even be where I am in my reality and my experience, even to have a partner, to even express, her emotions, or so I can get more of an understanding and overstanding of what it is she's going through, then how that correlates or connects with what I'm experiencing, but still be so more focused on myself to realize, like, wow, how all of it is connected. How to see the bigger picture and the oneness, because your seeds and your kids are the bigger picture. So when you're breaking these generational chains and you're seeing the very people who still trying to drag you, into those same loops of what your ancestors were some of them trying to break free of. And now it's you that's here to do that. And you're questioning, having to question yourself. Yes, those fears subconsciously come up. The fears of what you're doing, doubting what you're doing, having the faith to endure that. Because all those things that your mother while you were in the womb, that emotional aspect of what you develop, you inherit that. I said that to my partner. I said, the things that you say, I realize that we inherit these things, being passed through our mother's womb. So sometimes unconsciously, we don't even realize that the patterns and the behaviors that we have, through our actions repeated. And I saw a sister post that, or seen something, I've seen it before. It says, what we don't heal, we repeat. And see, now that the beauty of, again, is like having been spoken to like that. And you're talking about so many people I can just talk about, like, in the sense of like having gone through that and not realizing they have accepted that reality or live in someone else's fantasy or an illusion, like that's acceptable to be spoken to that way, to be treated that way. Like, I've had a lot of stuff I had to face karmically. And see, that's the beauty of what people don't realize, that karma in a way comes so we can really see ourselves, to really take accountability, to really heal those versions of ourselves, the little boy and little girl that were abused in so many ways. Like, I can recall, and sometimes how we suppressed it so long, and why we suppressed it so long is because of having been silenced and having been, your emotions. And I learned this with myself. I read up on it and I was like, wow. And I learned about this in my own natal chart. For those that, I just study a lot of things, do a lot of research on, learning about astrology and to coming into my own journey, because that's another thing, growing up in environments where seeing how, from my perception, how religion was used to be a control substance, or a control way of, if you don't do this, then what? And I'm like, how that looks now sounds very narcissistic and controlling. So even in that, a lot of that pretty much played a role on silencing myself. Because if I don't believe in this person, or if I don't act the way they do, how is that truly guiding me to myself, or me standing in my truth? For me to try to be like this man or this person you idolize, because that idolization, or that who you idolize, is really connected to your wounding, or the father that you really never had. And so it's almost like, even with that, I'm seeing women that were wounded who externally praised something that really were internalized wounds that were connected to their masculinity, to the masculine aspect of them, and even to the wounded aspect of them. The men that they dealt with. So it's like they use this character, or this external thing, in a way of trying to, how could I say this, substitute what they really feel, how they really feel, what they really should feel. So in reality, that experience, again, was a part of me being shunned, and there were times even in the church setting I wanted to speak up. But think about how the pastor or these people were used. Only this person can speak. Only you can do certain things. Like, this is why all this shit's being exposed. Because the narcissism, and when you're talking about having been shunned and bullied, you're talking about with authority figures as well. Whether that be in governmental, whether that be in the house, whether that be in the church, a lot of things dealing with that. So again, that which was invisible, because if you're in these settings at that time, you're not acknowledged unless you're following the program, or the false programming and narrative of what you should be, and not really show up for yourself. So how that correlates or connects to even my experiences is that I realized I was sent here to face those things in a family dynamic who all not all of them, but, saw the women and see how that connected to their wounding. It may not make sense at all to a lot of people, but I spiritually see that. And then coming into my own awareness and see how, reconnecting to my spiritual, practices, how that was criticized, how that was tried to be shunned, and, having people, the women, certain women, say that was, that's demonic, or just certain things like that. Another way to try to silence me. And this isn't to point the finger. It's just to point out the bullshit. It's just to point out how, these things karmically show up in these people, and seeing how that affects the patriarchal, which are the men that were in my family, and seeing how that they really never spoke up, or when they spoke up, or seeing their actions was connected to the wounding, seeing how they treated women. And then that reverting back, or seeing how that was rooted in how the women treated them. So you're seeing basically all these things, these people from wounded places lashing out at each other. And what you see on a global scale right now. People who really feel invisible, but they're seeking out attention to feel visible. Because they don't know what it is to be their authentic self. So a lot of us, that's what the awakening, or you being selected in your family dynamic, in your dynamic, whether you have kids or not, whether whatever your path is, you coming online and being activated to dismantle, help aid in the dismantling of these narcissistic foundations, these controlling and fearful, fear-mongering foundations. That's why your path, you are being attacked, mocked, bullied. And that's why it happened from a younger age by these very people who say they love you. But due to their own wounding, emotional attachments, just so many things that, again, has no value. So I realize a lot of things that I'm coming to my own awareness is the beauty of how what being, I don't like the term using healer, but, because doing shadow work is both acknowledging your dark and light aspect. So in that, it's like, really, you cannot, again, the magical glass, you can't unsee what spirit has revealed to you. A lot of you are, and what you're going to see globally is like, and this is the awareness as we're coming into, is that spirit was showing me how, and I've seen in visions too, like how these people, or who y'all assume that are here, and really in actuality, they also feel invisible. Yes. Meaning that they're empty. Meaning, what do they really have to offer? If they're not guiding or really being their true, their honest self. So what value do they really have spiritually? So again, this thing about being a generational curse breaker, that shit is, it takes a lot to be on the front line, to really speak about these things, to be honest with yourself, and show up, your authentic self, the shadow aspect. Because I don't hide myself from myself. I used to, because I thought that was a programming. Because you see it so much, people hiding from themselves. And they're consumed by the darkness, the entities, and everything else. Not even knowing who they are. Can't even tell really what they're really doing, because they don't even know. They have no idea. So I'm not going to force myself to be around unhealed people. I'm able to recognize the unhealed and woundedness more than ever now, because I'm here to do something differently. So are you. So again, that can look different from everyone's perception. Whether the partner or spouse, whatever you have, people in your life, that can look different from everyone. Their generational healing and generational curse breaking looks completely different than yours. It's if they have the courage to actually face those things. And that's how I learned to have patience and grace with myself. Is it because daily, just to show up, just to speak, just to feel better, just to create. And what I have to motivate me is those things where I grew up in those environments, even societal, even in a country that wants to shun, authenticity or speaking up. I was telling my partner, I said, how could this be the land of the free or freedom in speech? This is the thing. Those times, those moments are changing, and the powers that were, and there's a lot of people running in fear right now because they know that that's it. The people that are really stepping up right now, being on the front line, there is no fear. We either face everything and rise or face everything and run. What? Being on the front line is completely different than trying to run and go hide in the shadows. No, those shadows walk with us. Trust me, I don't heard everything. You're going to hear everything. People going to say you're a part of this. You're a part of that. You're a part of this. But you are the one that's chosen to reconnect with your ancestral lineage. A lot of people don't know that. They've been away from it so long, and they're not supposed to get it. To even convince them. The thing about it is that, can you keep going? I told my partner, I said, the beauty of all this is that I'm facing things and healing and seeing my part patriarchally, but it goes back to the root of the matriarchal, which I have to see those woundings connected to that. I have to see the dysfunctionality. I have to see those who play their hand and keeping the loop going. Those who portray themselves as a savior or portray themselves as such, but really in actuality, they come to just prey on your woundings. It's not really support, it's surveillance, it's monitoring. So in actuality, I give gratitude for Spirit giving me these magical glasses. So do you. And what I mean by that is that your first eye, y'all may call it something else, but your spiritual eye. So in the bigger picture of all of that, just know that your journey isn't in vain. Because even though it may seem you're invisible to humanity and to nature, not nature, to humanity and people, but they see you. And you know where I'm getting at. I see you. And when I say I see you in the spirit. Some people see you in the spirit when you come in. Because it's in you, it ain't on you. See, that's the thing that the tables are turning right now about that. You see, the world was so consumed by people externally showing up, oh, they got all this, and it ain't even theirs. And now that a lot of business is being returned to the rightful owners, that which it came from, their energy, their resources, and things as such that, again, as you reconnect and face those things in your lineage, these things will be added to you. Saith the Lord, right? As you face these things will be added to you. And the things that they assume they took away, see, that's the creator, the source sees all things. That's why I sit back and laugh, because people dibble around and play with people. They don't know who they are in the spirit. That's why you got to be very conscious and mindful of who you play with in the physical. And that goes for family, friend, that goes for everybody, because karma don't miss nobody. But dharma can be received by everybody. So again, the beauty of what you're facing, it wasn't meant for certain people. I told my partner, I said, certain people in your lineage or certain people in your, what y'all call family, could have had a choice to do what you're doing, but it wasn't meant for them. When you're speaking up, when you're speaking up and you're addressing things, not just within yourself, but when you're addressing things that you know that has kept the dysfunctionality going, the loop, when you're seeing innocent people being attacked, because see, the part of you reconnected to your higher self or to your inner child is that you're reconnecting to the innocence, having going through that karma, and you're clearing karma from what has been passed on generationally. That's what I also became to the awareness of, is seeing how the manipulation emotionally, mentally, physically, certain women who will use these tactics to keep certain men in my family down, bound, whether speaking, things that, speaking to them physically, but in essence, when they spoke things that was unhealthy, being that they don't have the mental capacity or the courage to come out of that, it destroyed them, or it kept them binded, because words are spells. So when you're rising in this power, when you're coming into your power, this go for men and women. A lot of you are here to heal that aspect, because then that's when people can't come to you, talking to you, speaking to you any kind of way, because you're going to give them both dark and light. So check yourself when you come over here. See, that's the thing I recognize even in what I was regaining, being restored with. Because some people don't recognize the divine masculine, because they never knew what that looks like. They don't know what the divine feminine looks like. See, the divine feminine ain't just, blossoming and beautiful and all this and all. Divine masculine is not that either way, because what was that the elder say? Is that, see, a lot of women, y'all don't realize is that y'all hold the keys in the spirit realm. What do I mean by that? It's because if everything began matriarchally, how can a man be initiated? Everybody want to be a king and queen. I don't like to get into that. But how do people be initiated? You come from the waters of a woman. This is being restored right now. The divine mother, the divine father. I'm not here to convince people about, I'm not finna get into y'all little beliefs and all that other stuff. Because if we want to get into that is, some of us are here to destroy that, dismantle that. Because you can't convince me that, it's just man and, somewhere in there, like y'all father, son, and where it got to be a woman in there to bring somebody. Make it make sense. And that's how, again, how women, this goes back to even how the woman, the feminine aspect, well, we carry both feminine and masculine energies, but how the woman in its entirety, devalued, tried to be removed. But when you look globally around the world, you see the so-called, because I like to say dark Madonna, or the black, people use the term black Madonna, but you see around the world again, the original temples being most centered around women, or beginning from the feminine principle, everything beginning from the darkness. So what do you think you're going to find out about who it is you are, whether man or woman? You go into the dark, because we all came from the womb. So again, as we're coming into this awareness and nothing can be hidden no more, that which was invisible, the divine feminine, the divine mother shall be visible again. That's why a lot of you women and men are coming into your power, because you had to find out the fucked up shit about your lineage, which begins with the matriarchal. How you going to come into your power spiritually, or your natural abilities, and learn about what it is if you don't see what was, the women, especially a lot of the women, both men. But this is the thing. A lot of the men learn it from them. The dysfunctionality, the dabbling in stuff, magic, the dabbling in stuff that, again, that everybody we're not pushing that aside no more, because it's all going to be, all these things are being returned now. Because you're the magic. Come here, let me tell you something. You're the secret. Ain't no secret out here. There's nobody out here that has more than anybody. There's nobody over here has a higher awareness or higher consciousness, or thinking that, just because this person has this materialistically, or just because this person on this platform, or just because this person is here, they have a level of awareness or something, like, I don't care what they're selling. The divine don't care about what people selling and what price, because a lot of them going to be judged for that. A lot of justice is coming for those very people and their lineage. Because those, again, when you come here and see this, those that see in the spirit, they don't see this. They know what time it is, because they know what's being restored right now. And when you're on the front line, no one fearing the inevitable, there's no fear about, oh God, I want this. No, we divinely guided and protected over here. And we know that inwardly and outwardly. So the beauty again of all of this is y'all coming into this awareness. If the divine feminine is being restored, which the divine father is being restored, y'all never knew what that was. We never knew what that was. That's what breaking generational chains and curses is that because that will be to restore the divine mother and or father, you have to have been a part and been affected by affected by the distorted mother and father to bring forth the divine mother and father. And see, this is the thing. I ain't fucking with y'all because a lot of y'all run from that. The accountability of you can choose to represent that divine mother and father. There's just no difference in the dark and the light. We all have I played a part and took into account that I also represented the distorted father at a point on my journey to even speak about what I'm sharing. That's why you seeing the old narrative of what the dysfunctional mother, all those things systematically, the child support, the food stamps, the systems that's connected to that fed you shit, but kept you silent. Did I say it? Yes, it served its purpose because guess what? My mom and them had that, my grandma and all them. But I also realized why a lot of stuff was given to them. Because it's to keep people in that loop. They were never completing a cycle. Think about that, how with the mothers, and this is a lot of women, how that distorted mother kept that narrative going. Because if you don't get out of that and break free and liberate yourself from your lineage, then guess what? That keeps those men in those same environments tied, or what's the term? Intertwined with those same women that reflect you. Yeah, you coming over here for accountability. Because I was one of the men that liberated myself from that. And this is not the shame the mother I came through, or none of that. But once I start to realize, and this is why I realized why I was so grateful for my princess to be here and why the divine, why she chose me, or why her mother and I connected. It's not about convincing nobody. I realized the bigger picture, the shit that she ain't got to go through. The stuff that people now outside try to attack her mother for. Because she don't, attack us. And other people probably will have experiences. It may look different, but this is why people will attack it, because they are a part of that narcissistic template. They are a part of that fear-mongering and controlling, narrative. Because if you don't do this and do that, then what? That's fear. If you don't do this and do that, that's control. And that's monitoring. You're talking about a society, an environment, a country that has been monitoring your people, studying the people. And now people are liberating themselves. And now breaking generational chains and coming into their sovereignty. Of course, the powers that were going to do desperately to try to cling on and try everything to send you away. But guess what? No. We dispel it. We rebuke it. We return it to its rightful source and owner. Because ain't nothing or no one stopping this show. The show must go on. While the curtain closed there, and that's why you're going to have certain people not like at all. You don't have to, but I've accepted not being liked. Especially in environments where I grew up where I didn't feel safe. And then you talk about environments where survival, ain't nothing safe about survival. Ain't nothing secure about survival. So don't come to me with all that, community this and do all this and do that. Let me tell you something. I'm going to go out this motherfucker authentic. I'm going to go out this lover, authentic. Because once you regain that truth within yourself and you get back to that, you will realize that was the very thing that your lineage knew that you were coming here to do, to recover and to restore the security within self. which means spiritually, emotionally, shows up physically. So a lot of us are here to restore those foundations upon truth and love, not ego and fear. Because that's what people are running from. They're running from accountability. That's why that's why a lot of you can't be with certain women and men. That's why a lot of you can't be with certain partners or people. That's why a lot of you see these marriages and all this other stuff, these false things of, you see all these people, I don't care, celebrities and not, you seeing all that to distract you from you. They're your connection to the divine, to source. And you've been questioning all along, why is this happening to me? Why not? And now that you be able to stand in your truth and recover your power, this is your moment. Because you're the author, you're the main character. All that other stuff is to keep you from you knowing that you're the main character. You're the main character in your reality. So again, with your partner or whatever, whomever you with, whether you with yourself, because it's beautiful to be with yourself, but knowing that when you in partnerships, that and having gotten to this place, because I wasn't always there, but having gotten to this place of knowing I got to know me in something before I be a part of something. So when you're talking about past and what society has been in, these people didn't know who they were. A lot of people don't want to take accountability for that. That's why you be attacked and projected on by people like that. They want to attack you because they don't know who they are. They still running from their shit. They still running from the fact of what hurt them and never told the people that hurt them. Never told them. Never had those uncomfortable conversations. They're still running from it. But in environments, in, what a lot of us are here, especially where I'm at, or just, you have to have those uncomfortable conversations. You're talking about, I'm not keeping the toxicity going. I'm not here to keep that going. And see, you got to talk about so many things that have been repressed so long. We have been repressed. Things have been repressed so long, from your mama to your grandma to your great grandma, yada, 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 because they have also been affected by, being outside, being in a position where being in these positions where they suppress things. They suppress things for so long by being at these workplaces or being in these environments. And I give gratitude right now, for real, that all this shit falling apart. What I need to save? I'm not saving nothing. Save what? Everybody they're not going to get that. You got to be the change. So you was trying to be the change for everybody else, but you got to be it for you. So that's why, you talking about mothers and or fathers that have repressed emotions for hundreds and thousands, who knows, of repressed emotions in their DNA, in their bodies, showing up in their reproductive system, showing up in their nervous system, showing up in their day-to-day life. I've had to sit down with my grandmother and my mom and have some of the most uncomfortable conversations, unsettling conversations. Certain things, again, I used to question why this person still coming around if they hurt you. Why you never told this person they hurt you? I don't care if you got to write a letter. I don't care what you got to do. But this lifetime, it's completely different. We're not running from that shit no more. I don't want to hear what it is to be a man or a woman, because in reality, that looks different for everyone. I expressed to my partner, I said, you know what? No matter what is the outcome, the beauty of it is that we came here to love ourselves. We came here to honor that. And in loving yourself, you have to learn to love the parts of you that you hated and that others taught you should hate. And then the ones that taught you should hate those parts of yourself, it's the same people who hate themselves and never face their shadow and never face the things that they hurt. So they hate the things that they're hurting from. I'm on fire, boy. I'm trying to tell you, man, because this is the thing. I get like this because I know what it feels to be shunned and bullied when I was young. The first people that were bullies. I know what it is. See, I had to recognize that because that shit was going on too long. Y'all want a pat on the back? I'm not giving no pat on the back. Because when you look at these industries, when you look at these foundations of even, man, should I get into it? Yes, of course. This is why I'm telling you, and this is majority of melanated men. Because I want to get on that. Because I see the oneness now. The oneness, the bigger picture is the oneness on how we have all been affected by this. But especially from my experience growing up in these environments. If they ask is not basketball players or football players, and we're not even addressing the fact of what these kids are psychologically going through, what do you think and how they're going to perform on the field? That has nothing to do with what they're internally battling with. I just couldn't get into it. If it was meant for me to go to the NBA, I would have. But do I question in NFL? Do I question anything? No. Because a lot of that, and I don't care how nobody feel about it, because this is the reality. Yes, it's not to discredit, devalue what these people have going on, but the reality is that I can sit down with any of them or, sit down with, seeing why they're doing what they're doing. And a lot of it has to do with, I guarantee you, connects to people pleasing. A lot of it has to do with, not really their self-image and feeling invisible to try to feel visible. All that ego centered around all this shit, man. Like, if you don't be this, I won't ever teach the youth that. That's not my focus. Because a lot of us came to here. I came to do it differently because that wasn't my journey. I don't judge other people for their journey, but that wasn't my journey or calling. I was close, having offers to play and do this, but that wasn't my mission. That wasn't my purpose. Because when I go to the depths and I go to the root of what's really going on, you got a lot of these kids that have repressed emotion and they suppress it by going to work out, by being bullied by, coaches, by being bullied by teachers. They've been bullied by, and they don't even know it. And sometimes unconsciously, they don't get to these places. And then after the time they retire or find out that they don't make the team and all this other stuff, then they got all these repressed emotions. And then you see them backslide or get into what they've known all along, which is, growing up in environments where it was violent, unstable, survival. So a lot of them revert back to that. A lot of them revert back to that because they didn't have a man in the home, or the man that they had, they were misguided. They had an inner child. They were hurting. They had repressed emotions. They suppressed their emotions. They suppressed it through being out there on the street, going out there hurting people, whether unconsciously or consciously, thinking, not to mention like the whole rapper thing, all this other stuff. Same shit. Same loop. And the only way to destroy it is for somebody to speak up and say something about it. No, this one you won't get me, and it ain't gonna happen. Because that shit stops with me. And a lot of it stops with you. A lot of you know who you are. I don't care where you are. I don't care what you're doing. Especially a lot of you that look like me. In the bigger picture is that you got a mother that got repressed emotions or has suppressed her emotions. So yeah, you go out here and do these things and yeah, big ups, but you get all that money or whatever it is, but you still got these issues inside. You still got inner wounds, bruh. Then you want to come back and save everybody else. Save everybody what? Because once you get all of it, if the money ain't even just... So what? That's just the material aspect. But the spiritual aspect of what's going on inside of you, you still facing, you still got repressed emotions from when Ray and such got shot, and certain things that you haven't even faced. Certain people that you're trying to come back knowing that they still got repressed and emotions, and they suppressed it by going to sell drugs or doing certain things that was going to end up what? In prison. Not to mention those men, that too are human beings. That people, that's what I'm telling y'all, man, y'all got it fucked up, bro. Y'all don't see it, man, the mental illness around all of this. Now that it's coming, you're seeing people really going through stuff because they have suppressed themselves through their work environments, and a lot of our mothers too. You can't say the help has been there. I don't care how much government assistance you get. Did I say it hasn't been purposeful? All I'm saying is all of this has been purposeful to now, where you see a shift, where people need it. Like a lot of us right now, it don't matter how much money people got. It don't matter what you really have in your possession, because none of you can take with you. A lot of us are wanting an active listener. What does that mean? Because you never had a father and a mother, whether you're a man or woman, someone who actively sat down and listened to you, to your emotions, to the pain, to what hurt you, to why it is your behavior, why you're angry. Because you never as a child had someone sit that, you never, when you were a child, because I was there, when you were a child, really sat down with the people who hurt you. You never was given that opportunity. And that's what you see when I had to sit back for so long and see these young men and women go into these industries, because myself, and even with modeling, I did modeling for years, runway, fashion, and all these things. I had to sit with myself, but I realized, why was I doing that? Coming to that awareness of what? A lot of which, the underlining or unconsciously, I was still feeling invisible, no matter how much attention I was getting from women. No matter how much attention I was getting from anybody, I was still feeling invisible, because I wasn't aware of how many things I was suppressing, pushing the emotions aside, pushing the memories, the things that were haunting me from what I went through in my childhood. And through these certain careers that I thought I was going to find myself and having no idea who I was going through these things, whether it be sports or anything, just like anybody else. Like I said, whatever you see from this, you receive it or let it fly. I'm not asking you to accept, take on, subscribe to anything that I'm saying. I'm just giving you the reality from my experience. And so in that, again, modeling and doing all these things, I would connect with people. But then again, these people had no idea who they were. And that's no difference when you see on social media, and you're seeing right now, as there was an incline in attention seeking and no awareness of self. Now you're seeing a decline in it. You're seeing an incline in mental health. You're seeing an incline in, drug abuse and all these things, because the bigger picture of humanity, people never knew who they were. And now they're starting to face, yes, love. Okay, baby. Ooh, I was in the zone. Can Daddy cut it in half for you? Okay. Okay, there you go, love. You got it? Okay. Okay. You don't have to. You can eat it like that. You fine with that? Okay. So again, the reality of it. Ooh, that sun beaming through here. The reality again is that I'm here to give you reality. I'm not here to give you fantasy. That's just what it is. It's accountability over here. I myself realizing, even through trying to be the best basketball player, be the best, all these things, we always trying to be the best version for others rather than ourselves, both men and women. And then what do you expect the generation that come after us when they say, oh, we can't do nothing with them? Of course you can't. Because in reality, this youth, they know more than a lot of us. They're more aware. They're more connected than we assume. But y'all just look on the surface, because a lot of y'all pain is on the surface. A lot of the stuff we've internalized. We see stuff from a surface level rather than an internal level. Not knowing what's going on in these people's inner world. I'm not finna shoot the shit with y'all, bro. There's no judgment here. Like my grandma would say, you know, before, you have people attack you, ridicule. They can say anything. I don't care because, as my grandma would say, they can talk about you, say whatever. But don't nobody got a pot to piss in and a window to throw it out of. If you know, you know. But anywho, to get back to it, it's like, again, you're being a parent or a guardian, because I do not like that word parent. But being a caretaker, it's not gonna look the same for everybody else. A lot of you wouldn't know what people's life was if you didn't see it on social media. And a lot of you don't even know the half of what people go through. I don't care where they are, what their status is, what their career is. A lot of you don't know what in the background, in the dark, what people have experienced. To even cast judgment, to even throw your stone. Because a lot of why I speak is because not only for because I don't like to get into the colorism stuff, but it's the reality of what has been experienced in America by people who are of darker shade. This is not to discredit or devalue people who have experienced it in other cultures, because this is a global thing. But from the experience, my experiences here, you're talking about a society that has tried to demonize, criticize, what else? Castrate, the programming of trying to eliminate and to make a people feel invisible. And that's why I speak for men as such. But I also hold our women accountable. I'm not finna sit here and pretend, yo. Because I played a part in it just like you played a part in it. But you can't make people see what you see. And you can't make them take accountability. That's one thing I learned, is that you cannot change people at all. So again, a lot of things, like, again, having my experience is totally different than yours, but having that's like your experience with your partner, even your kids, is different. I told my partner that, I said, my experience with our princess is different than yours, because me learning to heal even from the wounded women it brings up the repressed and how I suppressed emotions from what I experienced, not only going back to the root of my mother and grandmother, but the women in that time span of how, even prior to our princess's arrival. So my perception on women is completely different than what your perception on women is, because of what you experienced with your mother or grandmother. So that wounding looks completely different. But what makes it unique is that we all have our individual journey. We all have our own individual journey. And no one can live that journey better than you. No one can live out my journey, my purpose better than me and my calling. So again, with that is that there's a lot of things and that goes back to being a generational curse breaker. It's like being a caretaker or guardian don't supposed to look like your mama and father at all. So when you're getting projections from these people, they're projecting from their experience, their pain, their wounding, or whatever it is. And I had to express that to her. And some of us don't, again, from us being so shunned, and, her experience was different than mine, because, well, you can be shunned, but that can look different for men and women. Some of our women have been shut out by their mothers and their fathers, but that can show up differently in other women. Being what their upbringing was. Some of them never had that father. And so we seek these things out, again, through attention from what you see on social media. That was a time when you couldn't even see women like that, like the bodies and stuff like that. That affects a lot of men now. That affected me at a point in time. When you talk about porn, when you talk about a lot of stuff that people don't want to discuss, it's because You're not knowing how important that is, and then you go out here and drop your seed, or you go out here connected with people not knowing who they are, what's connected to them, what they haven't healed, what they're running from, what karmically they have connected to them. It's a lot to go into depth with that. So again, let me put some chapstick on. Again, I learned these things through that. I expressed to my partner, like, even commitment issues. We grew up in environments where if there was no father and or mother, let me check my percentage. Okay, we good. We on 18. If there was no father and mother in certain homes, and now you're seeing a rise in two parents and two guardian homes, because that's a part of balance being restored. Ooh, I can go on and on, but let me tell you, if you gotta see the dysfunctionality in what caused. It's like I was telling myself this, because Spirit revealed this to me. It's like we have to realize, and this is not a bad thing, because it's not good or bad, but I just see this from a polarity. You are the curse until you realize that you are the gift. You are the curse until you realize you're the gift. What does that mean? Meaning that you are the curse. Meaning that the curse followed you until you realized you were the gift. See, those things followed you generationally. Same thing with me, my partner, whomever. There are things that followed people until they met certain people. Then you had to clear that karma. See, a lot of connections, I even had to give gratitude to past connections or people that I was in relations with or whatever, whether emotionally, platonically, any of that. I realized it all served this purpose because I had to meet them, accept that, and be willing to clear that karma, whether with myself, whether with them. And so how that looks is like you're talking about, meeting people, connecting with them, and not knowing what their lineage has or connected to them. I think I talked about this like years ago when I first started this channel. It's like, and it's deep because, again, I realized coming into my own awareness, reconnecting with my spirituality had a lot to do with what I was supposed to do for my lineage. That may look different for you. A lot of us coming to recover things that looks totally different than someone else's, generation. If you're healing, let's say, if a lot of us have been affected by wounded women and men, then you're talking about how both the matriarchal and patriarchal aspects have played a major role in the dysfunctionality, in the confusion, in the manipulation, in the fear, in the controlling. So the opposite of that would not look the same at all. So you're talking about so many things that have been passed to you, now you're facing. And you're questioning why this shows up in your reality or even in your kids. See, that's the thing. My partner said the other day, she was like, man, I'm grateful that, I see the bigger picture. And I was like, what's that? She said, we're able, I realized what I'm doing, the bigger picture is that so our daughter don't got to go through this. I said, a part of the divine feminine being restored people and people living in peace, because you acting like humanity or people have been living in peace. They haven't even made peace with themselves. So why I need to go out here and pretend? And that's the thing. People have been pretending. They've been covering up for so long. And now the mask and all these things have been revealed. You start to see the ugly, the good, the like, whoa. And that's the thing about the magical glasses. You can't unsee that. You're given that. And again, that shows up differently. She's healing something matriarchal that may not look, that plays a vital role in what I'm also individually facing. And then you have two people that come together, both one representing she's representing the matriarchal aspect of her family. I represent the patriarchal. Two people coming together to co-create And from that, what you co-create that seed, whether man, girl or boy, still plays a vital role in how even what I learned and what she learned still connects both to the patriarchal and matriarchal. Because whatever she experienced is connected to the matriarchal. And she's facing whatever emotional turmoil or instability or whatever it is she learned, whether that be from the patriarchal aspect, the men in her family and or women. So you're talking about the emotional to the, where these women emotionally intelligent or secure within themselves, whatever addictions, whatever, things that follow her lineage, matriarchally and patriarchally, not to mention whatever follow my lineage, matriarchally and patriarchally. So you're talking about generational curses on both sides that individually you're facing. And then the collective picture, the bigger picture, is that you look at your seed. And again, that goes back to how things that is brought up. That's why these kids, and that's the thing, the people not seeing the bigger picture of what these kids and how significant all of this is because if you don't heal and face yourself, how are you going to even expect and play a vital role to pour, literally plant, that's your seed, and expect your seed is your fruit, your child. How do you expect them to grow and expand profoundly on what you either have faced, accepted, and or want to continue? You see, one thing that I really, as I say that, is like, I used to be bothered by the attacks, by the criticism, by the bullying and stuff, because I realized that had I not went through it, and I realized, as a sister said, no one's gonna attack someone that doesn't have value. See, one thing I realized is that as I learned and faced certain things that I realized no man and or woman were facing in my lineage, not what I was facing on a spiritual, mental, emotionally level. And in that, I realized that as I was facing those things in the past that represented the past ancestrally, I was clearing the way for our princess as her mother individually was doing her part. See, no matter what you're doing, it's the intention. See, a lot of people haven't had pure intentions. They haven't really been honest with themselves. And some of us are to be that guiding light. And some people are going to choose to stay in the dark. So how that looks for me may not look the same for you. If I was shunned and criticized and bullied for my art, for not being able to communicate my emotions effectively, and things as such that was a natural ability for me, that could look different for you, then those are the things that you're supposed to expound on or expand and shine light on and not hide from. Because then you will realize that those things that in your childhood that was projected to keep you silenced were the same people, whether caregivers or whatever, they experienced the same shit. And those that became before them experienced the same thing. It's all connected. So when you want to talk about breaking generational curses, there's generational wealth. And that generational wealth could look different again. To even see my princess paint a masterpiece is priceless. You can't put in my eyes, you can't put a price on that. That's me seeing spiritually what the creator source has given me to be able to have the eyes, the health, the awareness to even visualize and see that manifested or created, and to just give gratitude to that. See, a lot of us were in households or environments. It's like to break generational curses is to face those things and liberate ourselves from that and to not continue it. So why would I shun her or silence her? Because that's how suppressed emotions or things that have been suppressed, the pain and memories and thoughts that we haven't faced can show up in our reality And we unconsciously and or consciously project that onto our kids. The same fears that was projected onto us. And nobody else can face that but you. And that's where the patience and grace you got to have for yourself. So ain't nobody going to come over here and tell me how to do stuff, because y'all don't know what's been going on. I've been attacked. I was mocked. I was bullied. I was criticized because, oh, you're not working, or you're not doing this, you're not doing. All these things were perceptions or projections of other people who haven't faced themselves, still don't see, still not knowing how to really see their own inner wounding. So they come to you or try to come. And then when you block that access to you physically, when they no longer have that access, you'll come to that clarity and come to that awareness like, wow, these people are going through something. And then you see why they attacked you. You see why they projected onto you. And that just keeps you even, and depending on where you are, having the courage to mentally come out of that over the years from being, bullied and stuff like that. And it's easy for people, again, when you see social media, y'all see how people leave it, y'all easily attack. You're the bully because you're projecting from your phone or from your computer because you learned that behavior pattern and don't want to acknowledge it. You learn that you want to come and then you see what somebody else is doing. I used to unconsciously do it. I'm like, what am I? And not saying like bully or do that in the sense, but how, realizing energetically, I was like, what am I? Whoa, hold on, pause. It's too much. Too much. Like there's an upside, there's a polarity to all of it. Where I'm getting at is the simple fact of how, and when you're coming over here, there's accountability. Because, we're not running no more from our shit. And I can't tell nobody else what to do. But notice that when you make a change and you're shifting, that comes with the territory of you knowing when you stand in your power, you're going to have desperate attempts or people doing their best to try to tell you like what you're doing is wrong, or, automatically projecting the worst outcome. And because that's from their own fears and their own experiences. And these are the same people who watch you, who pray on your downfall, whatever it is, but they're not stopping the divine. They're not stopping anything. You're not stopping anything. Touch not my anointed. And see, that goes back to you realize that the curse follows you, but you realize you are the gift. That means the gift you're the box, you're the gift, right? And no one knows what's inside of you. See, the gift is like an analogy. No one knows what's inside but you. And even when you open that gift, it's dark inside before you open it to see the light of what's actually in there. And see, you're seeing people running from that. They're running. They really believe their life is, in a sense, well, I can't say, but they think that they're cursed for life, or they don't see an outlet. They don't see the light. And some of us in reality are that light for them, that guiding light. Some of us are in reality, we come into people's life to initiate or to activate that karma that they need to face in their lineage or in their current experience and circumstances. You just never know what people are. Some people are in storms. Some people are the rainbow after the storm. So in reality, we all have been there. So I'm going to let y'all have this. I got to go. Just know, give gratitude to where you are. It's only the beginning. Whew. I don't got hot sitting right here because, boy, it's a little cool outside. But when that sun beaming through that glizz ass, it is hot. But anywho, love yourself. Know thyself. Show up for self. See, we're here to counter all that. No longer are we continue the cycle of self-abuse, self-inflicted wounds, and connections and partnerships that connections and partnerships that don't really honor who we are or celebrate who we are. See, that's the part of doing the inner work and facing who you are. Because you'll realize these people don't know what that is. So it's obviously your responsibility to you first. You're accountable for your emotions. See, the word has shown you that, oh, be there for everybody else. But there's a balance to being selfish, like showing up for self, and showing up for others. That's what the restoration is, balancing the scales. Is now we're returning to the aspect of like, we're no longer pouring from empty cups. We can see the glass half full. That's cool. But it's important now for a lot of us, men and women. It's okay for you to be selfish in the sense of showing up for you, however that looks, an hour or two a day, whatever. Because there was times I told my partner, I was like, look, you need to get an hour, 2 hours, something. Go do something. And sometimes you will have people, because it looks different, they've been in this programming for so long. They've been in this cycle for so long. And this is not to devalue anybody or discredit what you're doing, because it looks different for everybody. Because some people are not even, they don't even think they can make this or it's possible, it's impossible for them. But the thing about impossible is I'm possible. Look at the word. Don't say I can't, because I comes, can't in the word can comes before the T. So anywho, you can do anything. You just gotta show up and really have the courage to step out your uncomfortability. See, that's the thing. People have been in these loops for so long of uncomfortability to where, or being comfortable in the uncomfortability and not knowing what it is to step out of your comfort zone. So everybody has been affected like this, both from the distorted mother and father. And so now as we restore balance, it's important to see our mothers and women who need that mental, break or vacation, or need that be away. And I know that can be challenged for everybody, but I do have faith that will unfold naturally. People will create environments, communities as such. And so that's the thing about stepping out of the comfort zone. We are a part of this thing's falling away, and we seeing it, whether we want to accept it or not. That's why you have some of these elders and people, they attack, or people hate what they don't understand and comprehend, because they're a part of the dismantling. That's why they attack it, because we are a part of building that new foundation. So that foundation that's being set is for the generations that's after us. So they don't have to live in survival no more. I bind and dispel that spirit of survival, confusion, emotionally, mental, physical manipulation. No, because there are going to be environments where we create communities where no longer I dispel that spirit of survival and bring and accept that spirit of thriving. We're thriving now. So of course, to the people the generation that came before us, they don't know what thriving looks like because they grew up in survival. I love you too, baby. So they don't know what that looks like. They don't know what thriving looks like because they've been in environments or in foundations that now they see like, oh my gosh, it's falling apart. And I feel for them. I really do, because I have compassion for them, because they're seeing it crumble and they're assuming that we don't have it together, or, the caregivers, the people that's coming up, because we're doing it differently or it don't look the same. So they attack it, or they criticize it, or they try to bully us into trying to do what they feel we should do. And it's not going to happen that way. This time around, we're reconnecting to our gifts so that we can honor that. Thank you, baby. So we can honor that and live out our purpose, authentically through truth, and use our natural abilities and gifts to bring forth that abundance, that's prosperity, that's going to look totally different than what the foundations. Oh, What is that, a picture? Be careful.
Not a picture. Oh, that's my page.
Oh, okay.
I put the wave here.
Yeah. It's okay. I know you didn't. This is just a picture. It didn't. Yeah. But anywho, so we're thriving. Let's talk about a little picture that she did. I would look back. I thought because she was behind me, but anywho, she's talking about this. She did this. It's beautiful. But anywho, I think her and mom did this. But anywho, again, we're thriving. And it may not look like that to other people, but this go around, we're showing up for ourselves. We're loving ourselves. We're loving the parts of ourselves that our mother and fathers and people that came before them wanted us to hate. And then that reveals the shadow aspect or the unhealed versions of them that they can no longer cling on to us with, because we're here to do it differently. And I was telling my partner, there's a grieving process when you're letting go and having to walk into your purpose, and you know, people's shadows start to come up, or people start to really reveal themselves and start to realize that they never really supported you. It wasn't genuine, because someone who's really true and honest is really going to support you and clap for you on your way to whatever it is you're going, no matter what the circumstances look like. So I learned to I had to gain a lot of courage and have a lot of faith, because it was the very people, and it was what it is, the very people who, you need to go out here and do this, you need to go do, yeah. But I know what visions, I know what was given to me, even outside of who I was with, partner, anything. I knew what was given to me. I know what was shown to me. And in that, you got to realize that all things may be removed materialistically. People may be removed, uprooted, because you're the tree in your garden. And so these weeds are a representation of people. The rotten fruit can represent family or whatever. But you don't have to, the divine comes in like a gardener and remove those things through your life, throughout your life. But you have to surrender and be willing to allow that process to happen. And realize it's not an attack. It's a catalyst for your garden to grow. And then even the fruit that you do bear, the seeds that have been sown, because the seeds that were given to you are like your natural gifts, your natural abilities, that comes from the Creator, the Most High. So you're just a vessel to spread your message and share it. And then in response to that, because the universal source or the universal God, whatever y'all want to, well, I see it as such, or God, the Creator, or the universe, when I see the bigger picture, everything is given. Let me say that again. Everything is given. Everything is given to us only to what? Give it away. So in reality, it's like when I see people boast about material stuff or boast about all this other stuff, it's like you cannot take nothing with you. So what's given to you naturally is to be given away. Be the light in the world that you want to see. Be the salt of the earth. But that's a part of that being restored. Everybody has been in a dark place. It took you to rise out of that. It took you to see the dysfunctionality, the betrayal, go through all the things to no longer betray yourself. So in that, you are giving these natural abilities, gifts for the benefit of yourself and those connected to you. So again, all of that, showing this and showing that means nothing to the divine. What are you really setting? What are you really setting in stone for your kids? Whether that be emotionally, mentally, physically. Because everybody don't got to confuse that. Y'all think that just because these people have all this stuff materialistically, what is, in a more metaphysical aspect or in a spiritual aspect, what are you really leaving them? I'm going to leave y'all with it. I got to go. You pee, baby? Okay, here come daddy. I'm going to leave y'all with this. If you're going to leave them something, Be your authentic self so they can see the real version of you, however that looks. The parts of you that's unhealed, the parts of you that is healing, the parts of you that's still, trying to show up for you. Pass that down to them. That's what's priceless. Peace and blessings. Shalom.